morning, friends. I'm Christopher. Today's Monday, the 26th of June, 2023. Welcome back to the gardens. Today, we are going to begin again in the vegetable garden. So I'll give you a little pano so you can see how things are coming along quite nicely. Let's begin back there in the perennial fruit. Rhubarb has reached its maximum extent of growth. This week, I'm going to do the final early season harvesting, right? I'll harvest 2/3 of this, let the rest of it grow for the summer, and then just before we get a cold snap, we'll harvest the rest. Gooseberry is beautiful. I can start harvesting these anytime now. For those of you unfamiliar with gooseberries, the way I grow them, I don't grow them to eat. You'd have to have them on the vine a little bit longer. Or I should say, I don't grow them to eat like this. They're great in jams, but for every one, you have to snap off the tip and the tail. Sorry. That's something I usually do with my fingernails. So that's the final product you're looking for. This is what can go in the jam pot. The black jewel raspberries are starting to blush, as are the first wave of the regular raspberries. In fact, some of them are ready to be picked. Just look at that. Oh my gosh, we get pints and pints and pints every year. Check out the currants. That's how you know that they're ready to be picked, right? When they're heavy laden. Just look at this. It's loaded. Oh my God. Ribes galore, people. And you can see that they are starting to blush. I'll start picking this next week, probably for 10 days. The same can be said for all of my black currants. Yeah. Good for the bacon. Gonna have some scones. Gonna have some currant juice. It is snap pea time. We've had 2 decent harvests already, so we'll keep going. Have you ever had a sugar snap pea? They are the best. You eat the entire thing, shell and all. Fabulous. For years, I've been saying that I'm going to do a second wave of snap peas, starting them at the end of July, but I've never followed through because I had morning glory climbing in here and I just didn't want to disturb the flowers. But take a look. I've been keeping my beds completely clean. Only peas are growing in here, so I will be able to do the second wave. Hold me to it. In the backmost bed, the summer squash are both coming along quite nicely. And I added a garden decoration. I crash landed the Enterprise D on Viridian 3, just like in the movies. This bed has had nothing but bad luck this year. I've got my whatever's in the corn, 2 peppers and 2 Mexican sunflowers. I had planted a row of beans back there, and we were gone for a week in Michigan. They were a foot tall, and then the rabbits ate them all, or something did. So I just replanted it 2 days ago with a whole bunch of zinnias. So we'll see if they come up for a late summer fun harvest. Same with my 2 mounds of winter squash, and my seeds must have been totally duds, except because all I got up were these right here. So I redid these seeds here another 3 or 4 days ago. We'll see what happens. In the strawberry asparagus bed, the strawberries, which were growing outside, again, got eaten by animals while we were away. I'm terribly disappointed. I'm going to do 1 more year. I'm going to get these into here now that they're done with their fruiting. And if they don't give me a good crop next year, I'm going to rip up this entire bed and start fresh, because I've given up on the asparagus since only 3 plants have survived out of the 16. Oh, isn't this lovely? Bumblebees are like my pets in the garden. They're so soft and sweet. Thank you for coming. Peppers are growing. They've got flowers. No real fruit to show off yet. Tomatoes, on the other hand, are quite extensive. At a quick cursory glance, you can see there's a lot of fruit actually starting. All kinds of different varieties. I'm eager to see where it goes. I've staked them, and let's get a reference. Most of mine are up to my belly button. I've done different methods of pruning over the years, some very aggressive, because I do all indeterminate tomatoes, so they can keep growing and growing and growing. Some less aggressive. This year I'm just going to keep the bottoms clean and maybe thin out some of the sides so that there's airflow on the inside. What I mean by keeping the bottoms clean is I'll go through and snip off stuff like that, but not too much, right? You can't do too much at one time or else you'll shock the plant. So I'll thin this out over the course of the next week. It'll be nice by the next time I see you. The same varmints who ate my beans in the other bed did so here too. This is the only one that seemed to have survived, right? Well, maybe you remember I had beans growing in and amongst the ground cherries. I guess there's one over there that I kept too. Either way, ground cherries growing nice and full, a good confluent bed. Over here, well, I ripped out the cauliflower because this is the only one that had a head. So in the space I planted, just went to the nursery and I got 2 of these cute little miniature pumpkin plants. We'll have them spread and grow throughout this area. Let's go through the orchard today. There are things to look at. In my only little pears, coming up in my Bartlett. The Reliance peach is of course loaded and it has self-thinned. These are nice. Let me give you a reference. Like, put my hand up here. Pretty good. They're not the size of a golf ball yet, but almost. You see how the branches are drooping down with the fruit on them? That's why we did so much pruning in the spring. These ones will be fine. No big deal. And my great big ones, right? They're nice and strong. They're not showing any sign of bending. So that's a successful pruning story. One lone apple on my Snappy Mac. Won't be a year for any fruit here, I'm afraid. Probably from the pruning if I had to guess. But it's also been an exceptionally dry year. I've been watering my new beds, but not the trees. So, you know, that goes away in fruit production. So, gotta wait another year. This cranberry tree looks lovely though. And I have just been harvesting for my own delight. Nothing too intense as far as volume is concerned on this yet. So I've just been snacking on these while I've been doing gardening. Teeny tiny pit. Nice and tart. I wish the same could be said for this cherry tree, but I'm afraid all it's doing is growing. A couple little things here and there that haven't ripened, but not much of a fruiting year for you. So it's a mixed bag when it comes to the fruit on the trees. Snacks for one of the cherries. We'll get a big harvest for the peaches. Otherwise, everything else is just growing. And that's okay. We've gotten between 8 and 12 inches of growth, up and lateral and inside. So let it grow. Let that stalk, let the trunks thicken, and we'll see what happens next year. Just behold the beauty of the west garden bed. Isn't it spectacular? Of course, we finished the path, I think, by the last time you saw it. I have since backfilled with a dirt sand mortar, and I told you we were going to do a living mortar. I'm just starting to plant it. This is sedum acre. When they bloom, they have a lovely yellow flower. Not the best camera work, I know. I just got them in, so they're looking a little worse for wear. Give it time. Won't go into too much detail here. Some things are in bloom, right? The penstemon is blooming. We still have some poppies in bloom. Some of the purple rock cress. Otherwise, things are growing. I'm so happy the geraniums all bounced back. We put a different oak leaf hydrangea in here. Haha, because this one's going to be a little bit smaller. So the clipping that Lynn and Uncle Jerry gave us is over here. Transplanted again right here, and it really didn't like its second transplant. We'll see if these leaves bounce back. This one seems to be doing good, so if nothing else, we got 1 liter. Had to be at least 3 feet away from each fence, and it is. Obviously the jade's not going to live there permanently. It's just a thing for this summer, and plenty of space between the fence here. Imagine that when this is nice and tall, 8 feet or so, climbing up and it filling in this space here. I think it could soften this corner and really look lovely. We brought back more blue fescue. from Michigan fill out this area as you run towards the end of the fence and the gate. Before we get to the front garden, man, check out my pots. Oh, they're so pretty, right? Keep it simple. Just love these petunias. They grow and they grow and they grow. So many people ask me the secret to growing good petunias, and the secret is not a secret. Water them every day. Feed them every 2 weeks. That's the miracle, folks. Water your damn petunias. This is looking nicer now. I'm pleased. I know I had talked in previous videos about my dissatisfaction about the size of these because they're growing more in shade than they were so many years ago. But the color is still nice. Speaking of color, my eldest daughter did this just yesterday, and my youngest daughter did that. Isn't it beautiful? Some things in bloom. We still have the end of the catmint. The end of the loosestrife. The penstemon, just like in the other garden. The coreopsis here. This might have been a volunteer. That's starting to flower, those beautiful yellow ones. And all this phlox actually in the corner. This was a volunteer. Some bird dropped it once upon a time. Over in Phyllis's garden, which my deer has been watering. So sweet. The rose campion is coming up. Looks like we'll have at least one flower on this. All the common geranium, just beautiful. I keep calling it common geranium. It's a Roseanne geranium for anyone actually looking to plant this and find it in stores. Looks like the astilbe will be sending up some flowers soon. Look at this hydrangea. This is a dwarf hydrangea, and it's been pink this year. I don't think it was pink last year. Quite lovely. The daisies are about to open. I wouldn't be surprised if later today I had daisies going. Isn't that cool? Bee balm is coming up, right? We got some heads there. This is yarrow. This soft, it's so soft to the touch and incredibly fragrant. This variety is red. That's right, I found that at the end of last year because we'll fast forward over the end of the phlox, which I can trim, the end of some of the lupins, which I can trim. There's more yarrow over here. This is our big chunk of yellow, the common yarrow, and these are about to blossom. These are spectacular. And dried yarrow makes for such a lovely, like, dried flower in a vase. It lasts a long time, like big white common hydrangeas. They look so lovely when they're dry and so lovely when they're alive. Good stuff. I did some transplanting over here lastly with with these. Sorry, it's early. Hostas. So our common variety here, right, is this green with the white. Got a million of them. So we brought back different ones from Michigan, right? This is smaller in the front. This, and its buddy, did I plant one over there? Nope. This one will grow to be large. In the back, see that bluish color one? That one, and this one right here will be nice and large, kind of a bluey hue. And obviously that's new, and that's new, and I transplanted this from way back there. The goal is to get this nice and full with just hostas. Kind of have it end right like this, so there can still be a path between the garage. And when they mature, they'll come out to the edge of the driveway or be a foot away. It's perfect. So it's just coming along. Here's one last look. Hope you enjoyed this long tour of my gardens. You hadn't seen the flowers of the orchard in a while, so it was prudent that I do so. It's been a great gardening season as far as me actually getting up and doing gardening, since I was such a slacker at the end of last year with my fence project. I wish we had more rain. Now that I say that, I'm probably going to jinx it, but nice soft rains are always the best. The rain is probably the problem for my fruit. I've been glad I've been able to water in all this stuff, keep it nice. But overall, the vegetables are growing well, the flowers are growing nicely. There's some fruit. Looks beautiful. I'm a happy camper. I'll leave you with this one wonderful shot of my side yard. You let me know what you're doing in your garden these days, okay? Tell me what you like about mine, and I hope you have a wonderful month of July coming up. Take care, friends. Bye.